The Hard Truth by Cren M Art. Next slide. It was a quiet evening in the village, where the golden light of the setting sun stretched lazily across the cobbled streets. The small stone cottage that Lily and her mother, me, called home had a familiar warmth to it all village could offer. It wasn't just the fire crackling softly in the hearth, or the smell of fresh-baked bread that filled the air. It was the sense of belonging, of shared moments. Lily, at 16, had always loved the stillness of the evenings. Yet, tonight, she was restless. Her heart was heavy, clouded by a question that had been weighing on her for days, one that she had heard whispered in the village and seen etched on the faces of the women she admired. She sat at the table, turning the same spoon in her cup of tea. Me, always a gentle presence, sat across from her, quietly sewing by the fire. "Mom," Lily finally asked, breaking the comfortable silence, "why do you think men cheat on good women?" Me didn't pause in her stitching, but looked up, her expression calm, as though she'd been expecting the question. It was the first time Lily had asked tough questions about love, about relationships, about life. Me took a moment to respond, choosing her words carefully. "That's a very heavy question, darling," she said softly. Next slide. "But I'll tell you this, it's not about a woman's worth. Not ever." Lily shifted in her seat, her brow furrowing. "But I hear it all the time, that women try so hard, and the men still stray. It doesn't make sense. Then why does it happen?" Me put down her sewing and leaned back in her chair, looking thoughtfully into the fire. The flames danced and flickered, casting long shadows across her face. She knew the village had been filled with whispers about a marriage that had ended in betrayal, a marriage that had seemed perfect from the outside. "You see, Lily," me began slowly, "sometimes when people cheat, wonderful the woman is, it's more about the man not knowing something about himself. It's not about you being enough or not being enough, because you are more than enough. It's about him and the things he's battling within himself. His insecurities, his desires, his fears." Lily listened, trying to understand. "But why hurt someone you love? If he truly cares, why choose to do something that causes so much pain?" Me took a deep breath. Love doesn't always save someone from themselves. Sometimes a person is lost in their own need for something they can't quite define. They might not know how to communicate their needs, or they might fear they're not enough either. Do you think it's possible? After something like that, Me's gaze softened even further, and she reached out, placing a hand over Lily's. Forgiveness is a personal journey. It's not about excusing what's been done. It's about peace with what happened and deciding how you move forward. Some relationships can heal from betrayal, but others can't. Sometimes the best thing you can do is forgive yourself, not for them, but for your mind. Next slide. And then decide what's best for you. Lily thought about her own relationships, her friendships, her dreams of someday falling in love, and what her mother said lingered in her heart. There was so much more to understand about people, love, and about herself. But tonight, she was grateful for her mother's wisdom. It gave her a sense of calm she hadn't expected, a feeling of understanding that the world of adults was far more complicated here. Next, I think I get it, Lily said finally, a small smile tugging at her lips. It's not about me being good enough. It's about him being lost inside his own head and me deciding if I'm worth the fight. Me smiled warmly. Remember, darling, your value is never tied to someone else's choices. The most important thing is knowing your worth and not letting anyone else define it for you. As Lily leaned back in her chair, she felt a quiet peace settle over her. The evening stretched out lazily before her, the fire crackling in the hearth, the scent of freshly baked bread still lingering in the air. She felt a little more at ease with herself and the world around her. "Thank you, Mom," she said, her voice full of quiet gratitude. Me simply nodded, her eyes full of love. "Anytime, my dear, any." Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my story, The Hard Truth, please check out my explicit illustrated fantasy novel called The Lonely Snail New Editor's Edition, able to purchase from Amazon with copying the link below. Peace. End of slide.